Hello, welcome again to Circle of Love. I'm Cynthia Gahan, and today we're going to work on something I'm calling Sassy self-portraits. So I'm going to flash over to my work surface and show you what supplies we might need today. All right, this is kind of the example that I sent out, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. This is not necessarily what your finished product might look like, because we're going to also show another approach or another style. But you will need paper. Notice I have this little started oval on here. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm just using mixed media paper. You can also use copy paper or any other paper that you have or that you like is fine. I have some drawing tools. Today I'm using a pencil and a permanent marker. You can use anything you want. You can use crayons or other markers, fine, or other pencils. And then coloring supplies. And today I'm going to be using my fun palette of watercolors. Love all these colors. And I've got some water for my watercolors. And I've got a brush. And I've got napkin as well to dry off. Of course, you can use crayons, you can use markers, any other coloring device. You can also use colored pencils, anything that you have. You don't even have to actually use color today if you don't want to either. It's a whole nother option. The idea of today's project is to create a self-portrait that mostly, first of all, allows you and gives you a chance to play, get a little more creative with illustrating people. And also helps you to start to develop a visual version, let's see here, playful and creative version of yourself. And I say that because actually the portrait that you end up with doesn't actually really have to look like you. It might just be someone who just represents you. And in this example I added this fun, colorful hair, which I don't have, but I thought, what would it be like? And I wanted to imagine what it would be like if I had very colorful hair like that. And it was fun for me to look at it and envision it. And even in my mind, take that journey. So I'll be talking more about other ideas that we're going to infuse into our portrait today. But the number one rule of today is to play. Just keep it playful and experiment. I encourage you to experiment and try new things. And on that note, we are going to take two different approaches. So the first approach, that is the one I used for this style of portrait, is by starting out with a simple oval. And I used my pencil to draw an oval to represent my face, or the outline of my face here on my page. And notice I placed it about kind of halfway down my page and not too large in order to give room for hair, give room for a shirt or for shoulders. But again, you can adjust that if you want to. If you feel like you really need a large area for the face, go for it. But I want to show you another approach as well that I think is really playful. And this is another one. This is one I'm going to be working on as well during our class today. And that is a contour line. So contour line is when you place your marker down or your pencil down or your drawing tool down in one spot. And you keep on moving that tool, continuously moving that tool without lifting it up. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm working on some facial features right now without giving it too much thought, without letting it or trying to make it, any real certain way. I'm just kind of continuously moving to other areas that I feel like I want to add something more. And what that gives us is truly a more playful approach, right? Because we let go of that need to try to get it right. I like this because it also instantly gives us these shapes, these areas that can be filled with fun colors and different colors. Now, I did lift up my marker, but if I was to continue, I would come over here and I might want to try adding some kind of like circles here for cheeks and over here, maybe another cheek. And then maybe I would come up here and start to include my widow's peak and things that I know about myself For example, this widow's peak, I have that memorized always, and not necessarily where exactly it is placed or exactly the shape of it or how it looks, just that it is a widow's peak. So this is a great time for you to also start incorporating features of yourself that you know about yourself. And sometimes these can be features that maybe you haven't always been happy about. Okay. And today I'm going to invite you to include those. Don't leave them out, include them. We're going to try to reframe our mind about them and think of them as individual and unique traits that make us amazing. All right. So you saw how quickly I created this contour line version. If you like that approach and you want to really challenge yourself to be loose and playful and extra, free, I want to say, you're welcome to go ahead and place the tip of your drawing tool somewhere on your page and just begin. And the rule for that one is really just don't lift the tip off the paper and keep going until you have included all the features that you want. If you want to instead try something like this approach, then I'm going to go ahead and take this page to the next steps and show you how I arrived at that. Okay. And for that, I'm using my pencil and I'm just going like this around and around and around a few times, very lightly and gently with my pencil to establish a more comfortable oval shape there. You don't have to try to get it in one shot. That's not necessary. After I've got the oval shape, and it's okay, you see how dark mine is and how thick mine is, it's okay. We're going to have a chance to erase if we want to later on. What I'll do here is I'll start plotting out some very basic facial features. And this is where I say, so many times we get caught up in trying to draw every single tiny little line for the eyebrows or every tiny little line for the eyelashes. We don't need to do that unless that's something that you really want to do, but it's not necessary in order to give us the feel of a face. Okay. Notice these are all very simple lines that I'm using here for eyebrows. I did this continuous line coming down and curving like this for a nose. You could stop here for the eyes if you want to, or you could add little circles like this underneath those curved lines there. Okay. You could, if you want to, come and add just a few eyelashes like that to give an impression or general kind of feeling of something being there. And then for the mouth, you could keep it simple also. And I'm just doing this bird shape like this for the top of the lips. And underneath, I'm putting a little curve like that. And so what we end up with is a very simple representation of a face. If there's a particular feature that you're interested in making sure that you include or that you want to show, you want to magnify, like, for example, maybe it's my widow's peak, then you can come in and you can add those extra features wherever they are or wherever they go. If, for example, maybe you want to make a statement about vision, maybe your vision for your life, maybe your vision for your future, maybe your perspective, something about your perspective, okay, that you want to say or that you want to focus on, then I might come over here and I might actually intentionally make one of these eyes bigger. Okay. And that's another way of incorporating play into this activity. And also when I make it bigger, it gives me the chance to add additional features. So I might come in and add a second circle inside of there just for fun. Okay. So these are ways I'm going to encourage you to play around, letting go of any ideas of the way that things should be, or the way that we expect them to be, or that others expect them to be, and just try something different. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go ahead and add ears, and I'm just doing a simple curved shape like that. You can come in, you can add a second curved shape if you really want to. Again, here's another opportunity to play around with the idea of listening, that our ears give us the opportunity to take in information, but to also be more mindful about our environment around us. So I might even draw another line actually around that and just make this a little bit bigger, just to kind of exaggerate that. I don't know where this is going. I'm being completely spontaneous right now. And I'm excited to see how this turns out. Okay. So as I move to the next feature right now, I'm thinking about maybe my hair. I'm going to go ahead and try to utilize all this nice space around here to add hair, maybe in a way that I might feel my hair to be, or I might feel I want my hair to be. And I say that because our hair can many times make a big statement, right, about ourselves. It might occupy more space, less space than either we want it to or don't want it to. This is a chance for you to break those rules. For a long time in my life, I tended to brush my hair and comb my hair really tight and pull it back really tight like this against my head so that it wouldn't be big. And I was kind of afraid to occupy more space in the world. I almost didn't really want to be seen so much because I didn't want to draw too much attention to myself. And so this is an exercise where I'm going to challenge myself to see what would it be like if I did stand out, if I did take up more space. And I'm going to use my hair to make that happen. And I'm going to just kind of make this new wild, messy, messy hair. Here we go. Illustration. Look at that. It almost looks like fire even. I like that. That goes along with the idea of standing out, making a statement, being loud, which again is the opposite of my nature. All right. Now, what I'm seeing is that some of these the features that I added and the lines that I used for them are lines that I feel are finished and I don't need to change them in any way. And because of that, I'm also seeing that this oval is starting to stand out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eraser and now get rid of just a few of those oval lines. Just kind of tone that back a little bit to see where else I want to take this drawing. Okay. All right. I toned it down a little bit. I'm not ready to make any other decisions about that oval just yet. So what I'm going to do next is add other features. For example, we've got a neck we can add. And here again, your neck can be an area or an opportunity to make a statement of some sort. For example, when I was younger, more than anything, not so much anymore, but when I was younger, I had a very thin, very long neck. And I remember my mom used to use that for me as an identifying feature. She'd always describe me. One of my very first traits that she'd list would be my long, skinny neck. And she would always say it in a very endearing way. And so that memory kind of sticks with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intentionally show here a neck that is a bit skinnier and a bit longer. And just kind of allow that to be represented there. And again, it doesn't mean that it really looks like that in reality right now. We're being playful with this. We're incorporating meaning, personal meaning into every one of these features that we include. And now I'm moving, and you can move to whatever area you feel you need to do next. Right now, I'm going to move to my shoulder area. And I like the idea, and here in my example, I like the idea of having these shoulders that are not symmetrical. In other words, they're not the same, they're not matching. And when I intentionally went to make this other shoulder very, very different with a very different kind of line, this big curvy line upward like that, it ended up looking almost like I was shrugging one shoulder, like I was in a way that if we were doing that with our body in real life, the thought that might come along with that is, I don't care. It's okay. I don't mind what other people are thinking, and that was something that I really needed for myself in that moment, and as someone who I often tend to be wondering, sometimes even worrying, what others think, and working to try to move away from that worry. I wanted to build into this portrait something else that allowed me to take a little attitude on, and say, hey, I'm going to do it my way. It's okay. So here now, what I might do for this portrait, this new one I'm creating, is think about what might help me stand out as well here. What if I had some really pointy shoulders like that? And maybe this one over here is some kind of a very curvy and goes inward like that. I don't know. There, I'm just playing around and seeing what happens. And I'm going to bring this downward like this neckline, and just curve it. And that's the approach to take with each of these, whether you are working on a drawing that is much more intentional, in a way, much more curated, where you really are thinking about the design of every single added element that you include. Okay. Or whether you're working on something much more freeing and spontaneous and whimsical, like the contour line approach. Either way, again, allow yourself to play and experiment. And we're trying to get away from the restrictions of feeling like it has to turn out a certain way. The only way that it should turn out is the way that you want it to be, the way that you discover it to be as well. Okay, so after these steps, these drawing steps, this one, by the way, already has marker on it. This one, I might add marker on all my pencil lines just to make them stand out a little bit more, or I might go straight to my coloring tools. Here, I did use marker, okay, and I outlined every section, just again to make them really stand out more. And here, I think I might not use marker just to kind of get a different effect. Again, I'm always trying something new to see what that might be like, and see if I like the way it turns out. And when I do discover new ways or new ways that I like that it turned out, then I know for next time, and then I will try that for next time. I think here I'm going to start in my hair area, using my watercolors to start applying color. When you start applying color, there's really no rule. You just see what feels right and works right for you. Right now, I'm just filling in this general area of hair with this base of a light brown kind of color. And then in order to make it a little more interesting, I might come and add, let's see, I think I'm going to take this, it's almost like a fuchsia color, this plum pink violet mixture. And I'm going to come and I'm going to add just some dashes here and there. I might do a little somewhat of an outline. I might add some texture to my hair to make it even look more messy. Some little squiggles in there like that, just for fun. Okay. Again, the idea here is just to play around. And now I have a base of light brown back here. It doesn't mean that I have to continue that same color all throughout. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the color. And I might have a reason that I'm changing the color. In other words, I might be choosing a certain color on purpose because it has particular meaning to me. Or I might just be choosing a color right now, any color, just to keep going. That's okay too. So being spontaneous and sometimes just grabbing the material and starting can be equally as rewarding, equally as meaningful. And sometimes, there is still unconscious symbolism being added You don't even mean to, you didn't even plan it. And that's because when we go with our instinct, we go with our gut, without putting too much planning or thought into it. It is our most natural response, and our most natural response will innately have in it lots of loaded meaning from deep, deep inside. So what's happened here with my hair is I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it next. So what I'm going to do is take a break from there, and I'm going to go work on other areas. And speaking of other areas, I feel like I really want to fill in this whole face and neck with a skin color. That feels good to me right now. So I'm just going to bring over here this in big sweeping motions like this. I'm not going to worry too much about trying to stay inside the lines. Nope. There. That takes up too much energy for me right now. There. I'm just going to allow myself to be messy with it. And once that dries, I'll probably come back over and maybe go over these pencil lines with another color, just to pull those features, facial features out some more. Okay. And one more thing to think about is here on the shirt, or even in the hair, or even around in the background, are all opportunities to add text if you want to. Any statement that you feel is relevant to your portrait, any thoughts that have come up as you've been working on your portrait, or maybe individual features and what your individual features mean or represent for you. Those are all great ways to incorporate text or writing. And it can be really big, like this on this shirt here on my example, or it can be really small and in more stylized writing that kind of blends in to the different areas. Okay. Here, if I was adding color to this version, I'm able to go directly into every one of these different shapes and make those each different colors. You don't have to, but it's a really fun way. And this is also a very Picasso-esque way to create something really fun and playful and bright and colorful and happy, to look at. And maybe it's not a happy thing, and that's okay. That's okay too. Maybe your colors that you use reflect what the emotion or the feeling is of this portrait. Okay, it should be whatever you need it to be or want it to be. All right. Excellent. That is my general introduction. I'm going to encourage you to keep going, whichever approach you take, keep going and be playful with it. Remember, not thinking about how it should turn out, just going with the flow, experimenting and trying new things. Great work, and thank you for those who are watching my recording. I'm going to flash over to my face just so you can see. There we go. For those of you watching my recording, thank you so much for giving creativity a try. I'm excited to see what you make. So if you are able to take a photograph and email it to me, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope to see you next time. All right. Goodbye.